Good evening and welcome to the Arundel Camera Club meeting for Thursday, January 8th. My name is John Milliker and I'm the club president for the 2025-2026 season. The Arundel Camera Club was founded in 1957 and exists to promote the art, science, and education in all aspects and fields of photography. For more information about us, please visit www.arundelcameraclub.org. And as I always say, whether you're watching us live or catching a recorded session, we would love to invite you to join us in person. We meet every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. at the Severna Park Baptist Church in Severna Park, Maryland. I hope everybody had a great Christmas and New Year's. So good to see everybody's smiling faces again. Before we move on to that, do any of our members have any personal announcements to share, such as having your work published, accepted into a show, winning an award, or other photography milestones? Well, I picked two people that shared some stuff online. Just want to make sure that we have it there. Tammy Gorsak, she had an entry that is in the July, that was accepted into the July month of the 2026 Cedar Point Federal Credit Union calendar. And she said it's the far right one down here. So I think it's here.
Fireworks.
Fireworks is in the middle?
Yeah, the center one.
Oh, yeah. So nice fireworks photo from Tammy. And then if you can click on the viewer down there, the Fastone viewer, and then man, you're pretty good, Christine. John Verdi also had a photo by the name of a higher authority, entered into a show at the Circle Gallery at the Maryland Federation of Art, I believe. It runs from January 5th to January 24th. So congrats on that one as well, John. Both Tammy and John, please, you can go back over to the camera, Christine. Both Tammy and John, please, if you haven't already, send that information to Mike, put it in the newsletter. And is anybody joining us for the first time tonight that would like to stand up, tell us your name, share a few words about your interest and what brought you to the club?
Hello, hi.
Hello.
I'm Kimberly. This is my fiance, Brandon. I guess we could do it on his but we actually found the club at the county fair last year.
Awesome.
And have had it on our to-do list and finally made it to the fair. Awesome. Thank you.
Kimberly and Brandon, do you consider yourself amateur, professional?
You're walking high school.
Perfect.
So.
Well, you'll find a great group of people of all skill levels here. So welcome. Glad to have you guys here.
Thank you.
Perfect. Do we have any announcements from any of our officers?
Chocolate chip cookies on the side table.
If that isn't the best advertisement for coming in person, Nancy says chocolate chip cookies, and Nancy's been spoiling us with homemade chocolate chip cookies. So thank you for that, Nancy. Yeah, right. Any other announcements? Yes, sir. Mike.
Since Ed's not here. So the National Cathedral field trip is the 24th, is that right?
Yes.
So if the information's in the newsletter, information's on the website, I keep spamming people. The important part is you got to buy tickets, and I don't know when the tickets are going to sell out. So there's three kinds of tickets you can get. You can go at noon, I believe, for a unescorted tour. It's good from noon to like 5. These are not their normal hours because they've got a special event going, but you can basically go in and unescorted, walk around and take pictures. Then it's starting at, I believe, 1:30. They have, what's that?
12:30.
Is it 12:30 of this first
Docent tour.
so there's a docent-led tour where they'll take you around and they'll tell you about the church and you can try and take pictures, but it's a docent-led tour. But once the tour is over, then you can walk around the church and take pictures until 5 o'clock. Then at 5 o'clock, they clear everyone out. At 6 o'clock, another set of tickets, and you can come see a light show. And this is what's different about this week is that they've cleared out all the pews and they're going to be projecting a light show on all the surfaces inside the church.
Wow.
So that's the evening activity. Those are time tickets. I think they're over 10 or 15 minutes. You can buy them in the evening for that. So we've got a lot of people that have signed up to go at like is it the 12:30 or 1:30?
1:30.
1:30. So a lot of people have signed up for the 1:30 tour. I think there's
Another 3 o'clock.
another person at the 3 o'clock. My wife and I are going to, and some, I think Catherine Rush and her husband are going at the 6 o'clock light show, and there may be some other people here and there.
We're going at noon.
All right, yeah,
At 6 o'clock lunch.
that too.
Sorry.
Yeah, so anyway, the important part is,
Sorry.
if you're going, buy your tickets. There is parking there. There's a parking garage, but it's probably going to be busy. So probably get there early, get your parking. Tripod rules. They're ambiguous. They're basically, you can use a tripod right up until they say, yeah, this is crowded, you're being annoying, you can't use a tripod. I've always used a tripod in the past and never had an issue, but I don't know what's going to happen at the evening light show. I have seen lots of photos in the past, so they must have used a tripod. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, you need to get your tickets. You can find the links on our website. There's also at the bottom of the event page is a place where you can just fill out and let us know who's going and what time you're going, so we know who all's going to be there and who to look out for. All right.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Last call for announcements.
Ron had someone, did he tell you?
Ron had something. Ron wanted me to remind everybody that we probably all forgot. I know I did, but the digital contest is next week. Get your images in by noon on Tuesday. So if you're like me that waits to the last minute, try not to wait to the last minute anymore. Last call for announcements. What? Open, yes, open. Well, let's bring up Christine and take a quick look at our upcoming schedule. One clap.
Chris gets more than one clap.
Good evening. Let's see, our upcoming schedule. Next week is our first digital contest with the theme of open for the year. The week after that, on January 22nd, is a program by Janet Jeffers on the theme of water, which will help get you ready for our February contests. On January 24th is our field trip to the Washington National Cathedral. On January 29th is our first print contest of the year with the theme of open. And then February 5th is hands-on night. I hope to have water things and abstract things. So if you can bring something and lighting setups for these types of ideas, please let me know. For the new people, that is a good night to come. Bring your cameras. We will have things set up, help you take pictures. You can get help with your cameras. You can get a lot of assistance. So
We'll have some cool water drop stuff, I think.
That is our water. So please let me know if you're bringing something for that night. And that is our upcoming schedule. Tonight we have Glenn Thompson, and he is a lifelong Maryland resident and says he focuses his photography on the beauty and working life of the Chesapeake Bay. From his kayak, he captures watermen at dawn, migratory birds in flight, and everyday moments that define the bay. He is a volunteer worker aboard the Skipjacks D of St. Mary's and Wilma Lee, and has given him a unique vantage point to photograph the bay's maritime heritage. He is a member of the Bowie Crofton Camera Club since 2013 and has twice been named the Master Photographer of the Year. Welcome, Glenn. Come on up.
Okay, the first thing I want to say is you haven't been to the radio go. Okay, so what do I got to stand? Stand right here is be fine? I mean,
Or like,
Right here.
kind of cover you over here?
oh, I got to be over here?
Yeah, that way you can read as well.
Okay. All right, anyway, so this is my project. It never ends. Photographing the Chesapeake Bay, techniques, challenges, and discoveries, a new, never-ending project. Okay. You know, they work at home until you bring them out here. There, I think that's going to do it. Yeah, okay. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to talk about my passion of photography and especially my photography passion for the Bay, the Chesapeake Bay. So a lot of my stuff is taken, like I said, through my kayak, okay? The other stuff is taken off the skipjacks that I volunteer on, and other stuff is just driving around, okay? I'm a member of the Maryland Environmental Trust. I'm one of their auditors, and I'd be sent to their people that are saving their land. I go there and audit it. So I get all around and come up with some crazy things. So I really appreciate it. So I live down at Chesapeake Beach, okay? This is where I go out. I can put my kayak on the car, be here, and within 20 minutes. Nothing to do but love that. I go out before the sun comes up and paddle out past the marker back there. It's about a mile, okay? Then I paddle back in and take pictures of the watermen, okay? To make sure I covered everything. My first digital camera, my first digital camera was a Sony A100, okay? And most of the pictures taken from the kayak are taken with the Sony because when you go in the kayak, if it gets wet, you want the cheapest camera that you have in case it gets wet, okay? So Nikons didn't go on there until a couple of years ago. Okay, so mainly it's okay, so morning is a great time to get out there, okay? These are fish weirs, okay? And this is where the watermen capture some fish. Okay, you have plenty of birds. And if you look how smooth it is, it's smooth during the morning hour. Very rarely is it choppy. If it's choppy, that usually means it's raining and you don't want to go out anyway. So it's very smooth, it's like glass. Okay, and you have so many things to take pictures of. Now, when I go out, I try to find something that will help my image, okay? And I even have a different pointer here. You see the crab pot right there? That I wanted that with this and the sun, okay? The only thing I don't have is a osprey right there, but it's good. So I always try to get something in the image to make the image much more powerful. Okay, so this is out there too. Now, what I did oh, by the way, your colors really well. On your TV, John,
Yes.
your colors very well.
Oh, good, perfect.
Okay. Anyway, this is out there. You see how nice and smooth it is with the glass, okay? Now, what I did with this one, I cooled it down a little bit to bring the blue out, okay? So instead of having all that orange like we had up here, I put it into the digital darkroom, and I added a little blue to it to give this picture, which is one of my favorite pictures. Okay, and as I say, when I'm kayaking, I'm always looking for something. This is leading lines, okay? The Maryland Photography Alliance is having a black and white competition with, I think it's landscape, thank you. And I hope that counts as a landscape. We'll find out what they say. But I'm gonna put it in there. But as you can see, I like the lining eyes of, this is a walkway up there. People walk down, and this is the boat ramps, and you go across. So I want those leading lines and I want those reflections, okay? So as you can see, as I got up in the screens, I can tell you what camera it was, the shutter speed, the aperture, what lens I use, where the lens at, and the ISO. Okay, so this Fishing Creek, which is down my way, if I get in and I go out to the marker and I come back in, and then there's a 2-mile paddle up to this hunting shack at the end, okay, and then a 2-mile back. So it's a nice 4-mile paddle, okay, which, you know, keeps you in shape. So I like this because of the saturation, the colors, the fall colors, and the reflections. Okay, coming out of Fishing Creek, I'm going back the other way. This is color. So again, I have my leading lines. I have my kayak in there because I kind of want to show what the kayak, you know, is part of the kayak. So this is my kayak with the leading lines. It's Fishing Creek. Now this, if anybody's seen this before, you've seen this bird. I kept it in. because I like the light on this bird. Okay, this is out on the water, and there's the sun coming in out on the bird. So the sun just, they like the morning and nighttime, evening light is the best for all this stuff. Now, if anybody has any questions, feel free to interrupt me, okay? Please. This is what we're here for. Okay, so this is the evening. Okay, so you can tell by the evening that a lot of times in the evening it's nice and smooth. You go out. It's fun to paddle when you do like that, but if you're sailing, it's not fun. Okay, you don't want it like that. But paddling, that's good. So these guys are bringing in some pipes for dredging on the channel coming into the Chesapeake Bay. My first lens was a Tamron 18-250, a loud lens. Every time it focused, it made a whole lot of noise, and I still have it, so it still works. Okay, so I try. Sometimes I'll use automatic ISO. Sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll change my shutter things while I'm photographing. Excuse me. Okay, so this is down the creek, coming back out. I saw the guy on top of the crab boat. Again, I want things that talk to me in my images, okay? I saw him on top. They were giving him, crab pots, and he was putting them up there. And I said, I got to get, some images of this guy. So I kind of pulled to the side, and I shot a whole lot of images, and this was the best one. And you got the cigarette. I saw the cigarette. I got to do the cigarette. Now the watermen are coming out. I'm back out. Okay.
Wow.
They're setting their crab pots. Okay. What I do is I sit in my kayak, and the current sometimes will just drive you away. So you're always paddling back and forth trying to get that picture. All right. So I got this picture. There's only 1/400th of a second. It's still called the crab pot. There's another one before that where they just brought it in and they were putting the herring or whatever into the pots. So I left that one out because I wanted this one. I want to get more in this time. Again, it's the old 18-250 Tamron lens I have. I buy most of my equipment used or refurbished. I only bought one camera new, and that was a Sony C Mark II that it just came out. There was no use, so I had tip money from my skipjack gig, and I bought me one. You'll see some of those images coming up. Okay, so again, I'm looking for things that will show my picture. So the reflection, this is why I shot this, because I like the reflection of it. And you have all the crab pots and also the crab baskets, okay? This is in the afternoon. When they go out, they're back in by 3, okay? They have a quota, they come in, and then they, unload it, and they clean their pots. During the wintertime, some will go clamming. But most of them down here do the crabs, and they're kind of finished. They pull their boat out, and they work on the boat to make it much better. So I'm paddling along, okay? So I'm in this area where there's a bunch of crab pots, okay? So I'm safe, I'm thinking, from other boats running me over because you don't want to run into a crab pot when you're on a boat. Well, they pulled up next to me. I go, oh man, you know what? They come right up there. What it is the guy does not have any images of his boat on the water. Okay, so he asked me, would you take pictures of me and my boat as we go away? I go, hell yeah, of course. So, anytime you get a free thing. So he's got his family with him. All right, you see their gloves hanging. The guy's got no shirt. And he's actually bought 2 more boats since this picture. So one of the pictures I got of him leaving is this one here. And this was on the calendar for the Chesapeake Bay Foundation calendar. The back of the calendar. So, one of my favorite images. Just make sure that I'm covering everything I wanted to cover while I was thinking, okay, how do I keep my gear from getting wet? All right, I tried everything. I tried a special bag, the seals, put that in there, didn't work. I tried, a box, didn't work. I use a gallon not garbage bag, but a freezer bag. And usually by the time I get in and start ready to take, it comes out of the freezer bag and it stays out until I get back in. Getting out of the kayak is where it would get wet because things just fall. You lose your balance many times. I fall in the water. Where's wood? I need some wood. Knock on wood. I've only lost one camera. Okay, that was years ago, about 8 years ago now, and it was a Sony A100. And good thing about it, I was able to get one off eBay for $50. I was able to save the lens. The camera, it was on, it shorted out. What it is, I was way back in a creek, and I was trying to get a picture of a dragonfly, and I kind of went too far over, and I think it is, I was holding the camera, because it's only about this about water, and I had saved it, but then I tripped over a root, fell in. Fell in, you know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever will go wrong, goes wrong. That's the way it is, okay? I always clean my equipment when I get back at home. Okay, because my hands are dirty, from the paddling and stuff like that. Get dirt, salt, and stuff like that. I use a paddle leash, so I can take hold of the camera, and if the paddle falls off the boat, it's tied onto a leash, and I can pull it back there. Okay, so a lot of times I'll just let it float by if I'm taking an image. Okay, now you probably wonder, what do you do when it's rough out there? Well, sometimes you got the sky, sometimes you got the water, sometimes, you get right there where it is. So this is what happens. So when it gets like this, you kind of just have to play with it. In the trough, out of the trough, in the trough, out of the trough. I'm very fortunate with my paddling technique. I don't get water in my kayak like other people do. I have an extra kayak and I take friends out and they got 10 feet of water in their kayak. I don't know how they do it. Fortunately, I don't, so nothing gets wet. But yeah, you have to worry about the waves hitting you from the side. Hit you from the side, goes over your gunnel, then you get wet. So anyway, so I put this one in there because I do go out when it's choppy. Okay, so this is a Brittany May. We saw her at the beginning, the guy at the, it's foggy. What I did was I converted it to black and white. I went in Silver Fix Pro, and I did the high key version of that, and this image came out. And it's won in competition. It's also sold, so obviously it's my favorite now, okay? But I do like it. I like black and white a lot, okay? Sometimes I like black and white more than color. All right, I just threw this one in here just so you can see.
Back up a minute.
The previous image, the parts of the previous image, there are parts that seem to be out of focus. Is that because there was some water on the lens?
Oh, you mean right in here?
Right.
Yeah, no, that was a fog. Fog.
Oh, okay.
It was very foggy that day. That's the best time to go out.
That looks awful close to that pillar.
Well, again, it's a telephoto lens.
Okay.
It looks closer. That's how they do that in the movies. In the car chase scenes, they use a big telephoto lens so all the cars look close together, and they're not. So that's why it looks close to that. Okay, again, this is just showing what the water's like in the morning. I always try to get the reflections, okay? I like the reflections of the boat and the people and stuff like that. There's Calvert Cliffs right there, and the Naval Research Lab is right behind it. All right, they're going out. Again, the sun just came up, and they'll come back in around 3 o'clock. Okay, we're going to move away from this. Why did I push that button? Okay, this is the West River, okay? Another great place to kayak and to see things. It's not a lot of boat traffic. I did get in the middle of a sailboat race one day. And all of a sudden the guy goes, "Hey, watch out for the kayak." And I don't know who paddled faster or who moved the boat faster, me or him. But anyway, so these oysters, as you know, are harvested during months of R, okay? This is during the summertime. The reason they can do it during the summertime, they're farmed oysters. You can do farm oysters during the summertime. So they're out there, I paddle out there, and I'm looking around, and there they are, so I paddle over there. So again, the currents take me down this way, taking me down that way. It's just, it's a tremendous amount of effort to get it to stay so you can get that image that you want. And I just, like to watch these people work. Another angle. They drop the dredge down and they pull it up. And what they're doing is they're sorting them out. I have a picture where they're throwing the, what they don't want out, but I'm gonna put it in there. So I put one of them in the black and white. I like black and white. I like high contrast black and white. That's my favorite. Some judges and people don't like high contrast. That's too bad. I like high contrast. What's that?
That's like deja vu of you judging. Needs more contrast. Needs more contrast.
It's always tough with the judges. I mean, I judge with you guys, it's just, man, I love this picture, but this is better. Judging is tough. Anybody that judges, I give hands off to them. And for the people that are just starting out with Camera Club, I started in Bowie quite a few years ago. I couldn't take a picture to save my life, okay? I learned through competition and associating with the people in the club. Clarence was one of our members. He was, helped me out quite a bit. So, we're doing hybrid meetings now, and so we don't get as many people, and it's a shame because you miss talking to the people that took the picture and asking them questions face to face. So camera clubs are great. This is what helped my photography quite a bit, like 900%. Okay, in August, on the Chop Tank, they have a thing called Thunder on the Chop Tank. And what it is these fast racing boats that come down and they race each other down at the Chop Tank, right, in Cambridge, okay? When I go to a race, like drag race or something like that, I always get the pit pass, okay? You want to be in the pit where the action is, okay? There's thousands of pictures. I mean, I could do a whole show on this one thing because there's so many pictures there. So anyway, so I was at the end of the dock and I saw him looking at his son there. I had to take the picture. So I got the picture. I sent him a copy of the picture and I really enjoyed it. But I like the eyes looking at him, his son. I mean, you just can't beat that. All right, so always getting in the pits. Yeah, I got that. Okay, good. So
Where is that race?
it's Chop Tank, around Chop Tank in Cambridge.
Cambridge.
Yeah, and you go, I think this year I was looking at, I think it's the 25th, because what I do is I join the, let's see what I call it, Association of Power Boats. Anyways, the whole club, and I get a member, and that way I go. Now, a lot of things you'll see when I come to it, I found out if I volunteer, I get into places that people don't. When Baltimore had the Grand Prix, I volunteered for the whole weekend. I got into paddocks, I got into everything. And you just can't beat that. I had to pay for a hotel, but that's fine. Now these particular boats here, they do over 100 miles an hour. You'll see them running in a minute. You think about that, 100 miles an hour in the water, about 117, I think, it's the last time. Okay, they're very much into safety, okay? It amazed me that they have all this because if they go in the water, they can breathe. They actually have a boat that's about 16-footer, 20-footer. It has scuba people on it, medics and stuff like that. It even has a scuba guy on jet skis in case something happens. I'm very impressed by their safety. So anyway, so this is a young lady here, okay? She's driving this purple boat, okay? She was pretty fast. So, and if you look at my shutter speeds, I need to talk about that. If I'm doing races like this or birds, I'm doing fast shutter speed. Like here, it's 1/2000th of a second. And here, I'm using automatic ISO, okay? That helps to get the action while you're trying to, pay attention to what's going on. In birds, I use automatic ISO with birds quite a bit. So I use a shutter priority and the automatic ISO, which is a big help. Okay, this is how they put the boats in. They don't take them to the ramp and ramp them in. They put them in with these big cranes. I thought that was pretty neat. Here's my guy racing, okay? So I'm using the Sony 7C Mark II. It's a full frame camera. It's the first full frame camera I've had. Okay, so I'm still learning it. I got the Sony 200, 600 millimeter lens. I bought it off, I used a website. It cost me like half the price, and it came in new packaging and everything. It's a pretty awesome lens. Okay, and then I got a 1.4 telerotor. So it gave me 840 millimeters to catch this boat. Okay, now as you look at it, 1/2500 of a second to stop that action. Okay. Now what I do is, if it's racing, airplanes, or whatever, I get to where the action is. So the orange buoy right there is one of the markers for the race. Right, so I knew they would be coming by. So I parked myself there. I got my lens. Now, I handheld my lenses. I don't put them on tripods. I might have to after my shoulder surgery now, but I don't like using a tripod. So all of these are handheld. Okay, I think that's why my rotator cuff went bad. I was hand holding everything. Okay, so this is a different class of boat, but you see the orange buoy is where they make the turn. That's the best place to get the picture, right there where they're making the turn. Okay, he's getting ready to make the turn, okay? Again, we're at 2,500. I kind of kept it on there, and I had the one was way out, 840 millimeters, and 469 on the other one. Now, the safety boat is usually on this side right here. When they come around, you'll see the safety boat. But remember, they're really going fast. No, I'm sorry. This won't be a kayak. This is from the shore. Okay, I should have said something. Sorry. No, most of the kayak pictures are gone now. There's a few left. The rest of them are on the shore, on the boat. Okay. So anyway, so I guess everybody knows about the down rigging that they have in Chestertown. Okay. If you haven't been, it's the last weekend in October. All the tall ships come in and they light them up.
And where is this at?
It's Chestertown, right across the bridge. It's 80 miles from my house. I live in Calvert County, so it's not too far from you guys. Okay, and they do this, it is a big deal, okay? Friday night is fireworks. All weekend long, they have a tent you can get into. They got music, beer, all kind of stuff like that. It's a really...
I like the way the coloring and stuff on the water.
Yeah.
Really well done.
Okay, now if you were a judge, why would you throw this out?
The crop up
I like it.
Thank you. I cut the flags off.
I like it.
Well, yeah. Well, you're not a judge. First thing the judge would say, "Oh, you cropped the mask off." So okay. Well, I think I have other pictures to have the mask. I just haven't pulled this one here.
But it's a 3-day event. Yeah.
Yes. Starts Friday.
Only time to go out and back on the boat, so they go out in the water and go back to dock.
Yeah, you can actually get online and get reservations to go out on. It's usually your Pride of Baltimore. It's usually there. The Colmar Nickel, which is one of my favorites. Okay, this year they had the Dove from St. Mary's, Maryland, and it had a lot of the ones from Baltimore. It's so big class.
You said a judge would, somebody that would grade that, like would say that would fail?
They would throw it out
Why?
because of the crop.
Because
I cut off the flags.
oh, they're not showing.
They're not showing. Right. Now, if I had brought it down so you didn't see half the flag, that might have flew. Yeah. But I do have it. But, again, I'm looking for reflections, okay? And like I said, they light the ships up for you. You can walk all around them, take pictures of it and, get some really nice images. And on Friday night, they have fireworks.
Oh, that's
Okay.
nice.
All right, so what I do when I go on Friday night, if it can't be windy, if it's windy, it's not going to work. I go on this bridge that goes over the Chester River, okay? It's kind of scary at first because everybody's going by and it's jumping around, you're worried about if your camera's going to jump. But when they start the fireworks, there's not that much traffic, so put it on the, this is on a tripod, on the bridge, and I used 8 seconds to capture different fireworks, okay? This particular image is now going around Maryland and the Maryland Photography Alliance exhibit, because this was an honorable mention. Okay, so this is pretty good. So anyway, so you see all the ships still light up and stuff like that. Now, when I went, I took the A7C, but I also took an A7 Mark III. So I had 2 cameras running at the same time, and I was doing this, And this is, this is what you get, It's just, how can you not like something like this? And then something? It looks good in black and white.
Oh, cool.
This actually won 2nd place a couple of months ago. I do too. I mean, it's just like, one of my fellow club members goes, "Boy, you were brave to do it in black and white." I go, "I like black and white." Okay, so we're going to go back in a kayak one more time here. Okay, this is a group shot. Okay, I'm in the kayak on the creek. Okay, I got my my hair in there, And I'm using the small Sony 6000, which I don't have anymore. But I know they're going to get ready to take off because they kind of, tell you to. So what I did was I held the shutter down and I shot 5 pictures right in a row. I kept it at, what did I keep it at? I think I changed it. Yeah, I kept it at 132 seconds. And that's what it is. Fast shutter speeds now. So that's one of my faves too. This is on the Nanjemoy Creek. Nanjemoy Creek is down in southern Maryland towards, I guess, Oxon Hill. But again, I use evening light. So the evening light is on this catamaran, and I start my kayak. Again, you kind of have to finesse the kayak and, paddle this way, paddle back maybe because the current takes you down. But, I got him on the stick and I wanted him to stay in there. I got him, and I got him again, proving himself. Okay. This Sony A55, I only had that for a while, but it wasn't a bad camera. But I switched to Nikon at that time. Again, I had that old 18 to 250 millimeter lens. It works pretty good. You can get one of these lenses really cheap now. So again, I'm on the Nanjemoy, and I came across these guys, the Amish people, fishing. When I first took this image, one of the reasons why I got rid of my A100, once it got to 400, the noise was horrible. You couldn't do anything with it until Denoise AI. So I stuck this in Denoise AI, and it's a good picture. Before, it was a throwaway picture. So software is something that I use quite a bit. So, and this made it a better picture. So going down to Rock Hall, there's also Eastern Neck wildlife. So go down there for catching ducks this time of year. There's a lot of ducks down there. But I come across the sunset. Now, I always wait for sunset for it either to go behind the clouds or behind the trees because you get all that light above it instead of having a big white spot in the middle of your images. Okay, so this is what I do with that. Using the 28-300 millimeter on the A7, only 200 ISO, so no grain. So, this is how I work with this. And this is the same place, but it's a dock. Again, the sun's behind the trees, and it gives me the better orange glow effect with no big bright circle on there, which I don't like. Okay, another sunset picture. This is the Bay Bridge. Does anybody know Terrapin Park? Okay, this is Terrapin Park, okay? It's a good place to see the bridge. Now, when the sun's going down, the ranger's going to sit there and bug you to get off the beach. But you just ignore him, You just, I'll get off, And that's what we were doing. So we actually followed it all the way down to went behind, the trees there. And so what I'm going to do this year is I'm still trying to find a good supermoon picture. I've got some, but they're not spectacular like I wanted. One of my club members, again, because I was in a club talking to him, he has one where he did the moon setting, supermoon setting behind the bridge. It was an awesome image.
It's like perfectly positioned in the arch, isn't it? As I recall.
Yeah, you saw it, yeah. Well, come to find out.
I judged that picture. It was phenomenal.
Come to find out, though, it was sandwiched. I know, we didn't think, because he wasn't there that night. I don't want a sandwich. He actually had 2 images. He took the moon, and then he sandwiched them between the 2 uprights. So, yeah, it's like, I was kind of disappointed when he told me that. I said, wow. But he gave me the idea that, wow, next supermoon, I can just down there and take the picture.
I noticed that the top of the clouds are missing. Maybe fails out.
No, they wouldn't fail that for that. They would like to raise. And I'll tell you one thing that I didn't do, and I should have done, and I kicked myself for it. I didn't have a good aperture. To get your starburst in the sun, you got to stop it down to about 22 or something like that, and that will give you a much better star shape on the sun. So that's shame on me, but I got the raise, so I'll take that.
So where is Terrapin Park? Which side?
It's across the bridge, and
Ken Island?
it's on the other side of Ken Island.
It's beyond the bridge.
So you take the Ken Island exit, but instead of taking left to go to Ken Island, you take right. Okay?
Remember, we went to the right to go to the bar.
Yeah.
Go left.
Go left. It's Severna Park's right there. It's down by the high
Okay,
school.
it's north
of the bridge.
Yeah, so you have to go over the bridge.
You have to go over the bridge.
So you don't want to do it at 6 o'clock on a Saturday in July.
No, you want to go right.
Beach traffic.
Well, all of you that's been around in Maryland as long as I've been, you learn. You don't go over the Bay Bridge at certain times. And that's one of them.
And it's what, a half a mile hike, what a normal hike to the beach?
Yeah, it's about a half mile from the, it's not terribly, it's not, yeah, not bad at all, but it gives you a nice, picture of the bridge there. So, if you had a good foggy day, maybe, so it's nice and convenient. It's right there, right across the bridge, Okay, so we're getting into one of my favorite parts of the show, and that's the pelicans. Has anybody heard of Jay Fleming?
Yes.
Jay Fleming came to our camera club and gave a talk on pelicans on Smith Island. And he takes people out there, but it's $2,500. I don't have $2,500. Well, he also, you're out there for a day or so and you get food. I don't know. But anyway, so what I did was I got online and I found a lady there that had a place that had 3 rooms that she used for construction workers. So she was renting them out. So I was able to get that for $60, okay? And then I paid a captain to take me to the island for $50. I saved a little bit of money there. So now I try to go over every year, but I don't go over the same islands. Smith Island is divided in 2. You have one on the right-hand side is Ewell, okay? They have a restaurant. During the summertime, you can take a boat over there, eat at a restaurant, and come back, okay? The other side is Tylerton, and that's kind of beat up. And that's the only place I've been finding. A lady doesn't do, after the pandemic, she doesn't rent rooms. So I found another guy on Tylerton, and he's also got a pontoon boat that he'll take you out there. And again, he charges $50 to take you out there. And I think it was like $120 for the room, and his wife will fix your dinner for another $25. So it's worth it. So these are my pelican pictures, okay? So I didn't have my converter yet, so I'm just using the 150 to 600. It's a Sigma lens. It's a beautiful lens. Any of you Nikon users, if you get a chance to buy this lens cheap, buy it. It's sharp. Even with the teleconverter, it's sharp. It really is a great lens. Okay, so anyway, went out there, and the funny thing about it is Mitzi, the captain, is taking me to the island, and Jay Fleming's going this way. And then Mitzi said, "Hey, Jay, we're going to the Pelican Island. You want to go?" "Hey, I'll go." So guess what? I got the workshop for free. It's good to be lucky sometimes. Okay, so to get out to Smith Island, you got to take ferries, okay? They all leave at 12:30 from Crisfield, okay? The one in Ewell comes back. The one that goes to Tylerton does not come back. You have to wait for the next morning, so you got to find a place to stay. So they also have a company that takes you out to the Pelicans from Crisfield. I heard it's like $300. That's ridiculous if it is. But anyway, but that's a good way to see I can't describe how many birds are on these islands. They're all over the place. So, I'm using, again, it's only 1/50th, it's only 500th of a second, at 200. Now, to give you an example, this picture is a crummy picture. I would never put this in competition or really show it to anybody, but it shows how many pelicans are nearby, okay? This is only like a quarter of the pelicans. Now, as you can see, all of this is all not sharp, but that's not the purpose of the pictures. The purpose of the picture is to tell the story about how many pelicans. And there's just as many cormorants there too, okay? So when you go there, you first get on, and if you get on the island, a lot of times I'll stay on the boat if I can. They all fly off, and they come back. And you get pictures like this. Now, bird photography, very important. You got to do the eye. Eye has to be sharp. If you don't have a sharp eye, don't put it in competition because it's going to get thrown out, okay? Now, when I'm using the Sony, the Sigma, I would put this on spot focus and spot focus on the eye, okay? On the Sony, it's a little different. It actually has a bird recognition on it, and it works pretty good, so. But anyway, so the eye, I always think about eye. Most of you have done this before know the eye is very important. And you come across with things like this.
Wow, feathers and stuff, it's very detailed.
There's so many birds, it really is hard to,
Isolate one.
yeah, thank you, that's what I'm talking about, yeah. So many birds. Okay, then you get to, the mothers and the babies working and stuff like that. This is taken from the pontoon boat. Okay, you look, it's only 155 millimeters. Actually, we were so close, and I didn't bring my second camera. Shame on me. I usually bring the D500 and the 7200. Okay, but I only brought the the 500 with the big lens. I had to take the teleconverter off, and still only 155 millimeters to get this image. So again, everything's about the eyes. Now, there's the great photographer, me. Okay, a friend of mine was with us, and they took a picture of me. That's not. Well, I want you to see that that lens is not totally extended because we're so close. Okay, like I got my converter off, I don't have it, and most of you, I don't know if you know, but I'm sure all of you know, especially on a Sigma, you have a focus limitator. You can make it so it focuses in the front, all the way in the back, or whatever. So it's good to use that. So learn up on that because I practice that quite a bit. So that's me. And this is a shot that I took at that time. Okay, one of my favorite shots. Then you have the cormorants. Thousands of cormorants, though. Okay, so this is a building on Tylerton, okay? They tell me, they swore by it too, that when we had the hurricane, it just went over top of them, didn't bother them, and beat up Chrisfield. And Chrisfield got beat up, very bad. So they swear it doesn't, but I'm telling you, almost every afternoon you got this much water right in front. There's a little bit more water than I want in front of my house. Okay, again, this is Tylerton, and this is the ferry that's going to go back in the morning. What they do is they go back in the morning and they take the soft shell crabs. Okay, the waterman I stayed with has a big shack that has all these soft shell crabs, and they go out there almost every hour and pull them out as they bust out of their shells. Okay, the ferries also carry everything that the islanders need. I was on one that actually had a boat trailer on it, hanging off the back. Okay, mulch, groceries, all kind of stuff like that. Back and forth they go, and like I was coming back on one of them, lady was going in for a doctor's appointment. So you got to think about that. And during the wintertime, they have to have an icebreaker to get the kids to school. So that's Smith Island.
And cakes.
I always do. Thank you. I appreciate that. Every time I go there, I talk to the one lady that makes some Smith Island cakes, and I buy a cake for her. It's only $30 compared to the $65 down at the, what do you call it, the Amish market down in Annapolis. And it's super great. I mean, it's I get the little box, I'm holding it. The camera gear, I could care less. The cake's not getting wet. So anyway, okay, so we're in Blackwater now, okay? Again, I'm sure most of you know, have been to Blackwater, but there's a lot of eagles there. And there weren't a lot of eagles, but they like tripled in the last few years. So this is, again, a handheld, okay? I used the teleconverter, I used that, and I shot for the eyes.
So are you on land here?
Yes, everything's on
They
land.
do have kayaking there.
Yeah, they do. I got kayaks from there, but there's no eagles flew by. Okay, this is on land, so everybody knows you can just, if you haven't been there, you just drive around and you have some patience. Now, the last couple of years there hasn't been enough water for the snow geese to come in. I asked them. I said, "How come you drain the water out?" It's the drought. So you're not going to go there to see the white geese, the snow geese, until that water comes back there. You can see them all over the place in fields.
She just went.
I was there 3 days ago. They were everywhere. I saw eagles, I saw osprey, I saw Canadian geese, I saw the white geese.
At Blackwater?
I mean, at Blackwater.
That's wonderful. You're very fortunate because every time I go, they're not
I
there.
can't believe it.
Yeah, going to Blackwater is a hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah.
You get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, no, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Shoot over there for the dawn, the sunrise, and I don't see a bird for 5 hours.
Right now, it was just like overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it's wonderful to go there. Okay, and then, when I did this one here, I upped the shutter speed because I didn't want the wings to be blurred. Okay, so that's something that's hard to, you really, the higher shutter speed, and the new cameras can take the higher shutter speed. You don't have a lot of the movement that you had before, the blurred. Now, every once in a while, you get lucky, like you did the other day. Okay, so this is by the kayak ramp that you go down, and there's 3 eagles in there. A juvenile, a regular one, and this guy. He's got the fish. You see the fish hanging off his thing. He ain't letting no one else have that fish. Nobody. So what he does, and I'm sitting there, I'm just standing there, I go, wow, I can see that real close. All right. And then he starts eating the fish. Now, in competition, they don't throw that. They don't like seeing things like this. So, but anyway, that's how close. I mean, just standing. I mean, all 3 of them didn't move when I was there. Sometimes it's about luck, but you have to have your camera ready for the luck. Now, most of you probably know that eagles are scavengers. Okay, so one of my audit trips for the Maryland Environmental Trust, I was on Eastern Shore, and I'm driving down this lonely road, and there's an eagle fighting a bunch of buzzards for this dead raccoon. Stopped in the middle of the road, grabbed the camera, because I always have it, and I shot a bunch of pictures of them doing it. It took me 10 minutes before somebody made me move off the road, before someone came to the road. But that's what it is. So that's, that's how you wanted a dead, and he got the dead raccoon. So, and that's right by Blackwater. And this is in Blackwater too, during the ice storm. So, winter, you get some of the better pictures in wintertime. The ice, I was heading down to Chesapeake for a rocket launch, which was very disappointing, by the way. And we drove by, and I wanted to jump into Blackwater, see what we found. We found this, and then we found this poor bird sitting in the nest, frozen over. So as you go around these roads, you find roads that have bird sanctuaries. So Deal Island, I don't know if you understand, Deal Island's on the eastern shore, all the way down south past Chrisfield, okay? And when you get off Route 13, it's another 30 minutes to the end of it, but it's worth the trip. In the middle, there's a wildlife refuge with a small dirt road, and I go down there and I'll get pictures like this because I use the car for a blind. Okay, so there's not enough room to get out, so I just, sat there and, and I got a whole bunch of pictures of other different birds too, but, time-wise, I can't put everything in there. Yeah, he got his head to the side. Yeah, he kind of looking at me like a crazy guy. I don't know, I looked it up one time and I forgot.
Do you ever, like in the wintertime, get the birds that are like flying or something with their breath?
No, that's one of my, I
saw a guy do that on YouTube.
Yeah, I have a bucket.
Amazing.
Yeah, I have a bucket list. Yeah, I have a bucket list. One of them is a bird with the cold weather breathing, and the other one's an owl. I have not got a good picture of an owl, no matter what I do. Okay, so again, we go with my black and white. Okay, taking the egrets, it's really hard not to blow out the white. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll underexpose it and try to get the rest of the picture, it's acceptable. So we got the reflection, we have all the feathers, they're great detail, okay? And he's got a fish. And that was taken from the side of the road. It was a pond on the side of the road. Just put it was a drainage pond, but he found plenty of fish in there. And that went into MPA competition a few years ago. It's one of my faves, again, black and white. This is the same bird, but this bird, you can tell I didn't use a fast shutter speed, so we have blurred wings. If I had jumped the shutter speed up, I wouldn't have the blurred wings, but yeah, I liked it, so it stayed in. All right, this is Blackwater 2. This is a series, okay? I was using 1250 and just shooting as this bird flew down. Focusing on the eyes. Again, my Nikon lens, I use to spot focus, okay? That's my favorite. And this is what we get. He's scratching it here. And see how sharp his eye is. Okay, again, when you have these white birds, you have to be careful not to blow out the feathers. And then I caught one flying. This again, black water. It's so daggone close, you can find anything there. This is almost, the white's almost too much white there in that one. And sometimes the bird just sits on a branch for you. Walks up and down. Now this one got thrown out at a competition. Anybody want to guess why?
Too close. Not enough
Thank you.
space.
Not enough space for it to fly. You know, I'm sitting there thinking, I want a close up of the bird. And I got thinking, this is perfect. The guy's going to love it. The guy goes, well, you know, it would be a better picture if you extended it way out here. You know, it would look better. You know something? He's right. I've changed that in my Lightroom. So yeah, he's absolutely right. So if you're doing competition, give the bird place to fly, or the judge is going to throw it out. He's absolutely right. So I was playing with panning, you know, like you do panning with car shows and stuff like that, and it came out pretty good. I kind of liked it. Then if you go to Blackwater, go down some of the roads down there, and this is where I came up on the roads around Blackwater, and this is from the car. So I'm in the creek, little pond right there, and stopped, and he flew away from it. Again, I need a place to fly. Okay, so we talked about the snow geese, one of my favorites. So this is one of my snow geese pictures. Okay, it's amazing. Anybody that's seen this is amazing. You know, all of a sudden they'll start fussing and they all take off. You know, it's a sight to be seen. If you haven't seen it, it's just.
Is that Blackwater?
Yeah, this is Blackwater.
They
Yeah.
do it above my home too.
Yeah, and the thing what you got to worry about at Blackwater, and I got it in my notes here, is that if they have power lines right here, and they get in the way of your image. So you have to kind of position your plane so you don't have the power lines in there, because they will do that. And every once in a while, you get a duck that goes with them. So he's flying out with them. So anyway, so if you had the power lines there, it would ruin his image. So you don't want to do the power lines. Okay, I have kayak Blackwater before, and this is one of the evening images as we were finishing up. Okay, so we're going to go into some more kayak pictures, and what it is ospreys. Okay, oops, went backwards. Unfortunately, I don't know if you all have noticed, there's not as many ospreys as it's been the last couple of years. That's because the fish, the Melian, I can't pronounce the name, are being overfished. So the youngins, they say, is starving. So there's a lot of nests that I would go and photograph on my kayak, they've been abandoned. That's a shame, because we take years to fix the DD problem. Now we, ruin the environment by doing all their fish. Okay, so the Nikon's on the kayaks. That means I have the new Sony. Okay, ISO 200, and you want to watch the sun. I have so many pictures where it's too dark under the wings. Okay, you have too much of a shadow. Okay, you want the white. The sun going through it, and the eyes sharp. Okay. I don't know if anybody else, I have never seen an osprey carry a fish with a head. They always have no head on. All my pictures of osprey with a fish has no head. I have no reason, I know no reason why. But he's coming off his nest. When I paddle, and you can do this on land if you got a nest nearby you, I paddle upstream and I let the current take me down, and they take off the nest, and they have the youngins hang low, and then they fly around and they give you the dirty look. They never touch you, but they always come back. So if you have your kayak, or if you're standing in the right place, they'll come back and show off for you. Let's see what my notes say about that. It always come off, they always come back. You can do this from land, yeah. There's a nest down at Chesapeake, North Beach, that you can take osprey pictures from the boardwalk, from the pier that goes out. They have one nest, and they always have osprey there. And then they go south. A lot of people, I don't know if they know, they go south first, and they leave the babies behind. Okay, and the babies fend for themselves, then they go south. This bird was not happy with me. You know, he said, "No, you know, just they squawk up a storm." And be careful too, because as soon as they take off the nest, they poop. And it's a big one. Okay, so
Excuse me, so for a picture like this, it's very dramatic, but would a judge say you cropped off the wing?
no, I didn't put this in competition because of that.
But is that what a judge would say?
Probably. I mean, it depends on the judge, but it's not as bad as cutting off the flags. Okay, the wing is not so bad. It all depends on the judge because the wing is blurred up there too. So, you know, you really don't want it and everything that blurred.
Yeah.
You know.
And you can focus on the head like you want.
Yep, the eyes. The eyes are nice and sharp. That's why I use the.
And actually, if you crop it so that you cut off both wings,
I have.
then it does, the judge is like, oh, well, this was an intentional artistic decision.
Yeah. Yeah, I have like, when I get in, I like the digital darkroom. I had a darkroom way back when, but I love the digital darkroom because you do so much in the digital darkroom. So this one image has probably been redone 50 times. You know, I'm exaggerating, but at least 4 or 5 times where I did cut the wings off and stuff like that. Okay, and you kayak around, you come to a nest, and you sit the babies feeding. Okay, now I had a tough decision here. Do I leave the stick or don't use the stick in front of the one baby? Do I take this bad boy out or leave it in? Well, I took it out in Photoshop and it didn't look very good. So I kept the wing in, the stick in. So the stick stayed in. And the babies are some ugly rascals when they're young. They have that bright orange eyes. Okay, so the mother or the father, I can never tell. It's supposed to be able to tell by their chest and how big they are, which is which. But in order to get this image, it was down a creek and it was really a big current. So I actually had to take the kayak and jam it up against a piece of branch to steady, you know, to keep it from falling down because I've just and I'd be down this way. And this one's on my skipjack coming into port. I caught these guys, you know, I had to take their picture. Okay, second cool place to go. Has anybody been to Mallows Bay? Okay, Mallows Bay, that people don't know, is on the Potomac, and it's a bay, and it's got, I think it's 100, I don't know exactly, ships that were burned in the 30s, I think. They were made for World War I, and they were wood, so no one wanted them. So they brought them down, and some guy bought them, he went bankrupt. So they brought them down to Mallows Bay, and they burned them all to the ground, you know, to the water line. Okay, so when you go to Mallows Bay, if it's low tide, you can actually see the skeletons because a lot of them had metal in between the planking. So you actually, and it's bird paradise. Okay, even without, because you can see these from the parking lot. So this is one of the images I caught here. See no head, you know.
I was there when there was a bunch of Boy Scouts with an inflatable.
Well, sometimes you have bad luck. But it's a neat place to visit, to check it out. It's got a lot of history in it. And if it's low tide, if it's high tide and in a boat, then you got to be careful because you start running into things.
Was that on your kayak or was that on the shore?
That's on a kayak. This is on a kayak. I'm sorry. This is kayak too. Okay, so right now the Nikons go on the kayak because they're older. Okay, so as you can see, you have the wooden planks and you have them rods up there. That's what they were going through, and that's what's below the water line. And they have one ship right there that's actually just all, you know, been there for years and it's half fallen apart. And there's a lot of ospreys on there. And then this is a picture just to show, you know, all around here. This is the boat right here, you know, that burned down. But there's hundreds of boats. It's just one time you have to go there to take a look at it or look up the history. And I mean, there's ospreys, there's eagles, you know. So I caught this osprey up in a tree, take it off, probably the same one. Now, one time I was down there with my kayak and I didn't have the camera ready. This beaver came up. All right, so the beaver comes up to the kayak. He wants to come in. At that point, I didn't know beavers had orange teeth. Something are going, that guy is sick. I don't want him in my boat. But then I found out when I went to the dentist, in the kids section of the dentist, they talked about they do have orange teeth. So he kept trying to get in. So anyway, so I took my iPhone out, always have an iPhone, and captured a picture. Now, every once in a while, you have visitors, okay? So this is Allen's Fresh. It's down not too far from my way. A bunch of these spoonbills came up for the summer. And they were in this tree, and they would fly around. So and every photographer around was trying to get pictures of them. So I had just come back from Michigan, from the air show up in Michigan. And I said, man, I got to go down there. So this is one of the images I caught. I tried to catch one of them flying. It's so-so. I'll have to work on it a little more. But yeah, this is taken with the Sony, with the converter on it. Now, this is not kayak. This is on the shore. This is down my way. In the wintertime, you get good stuff too. Now, we haven't had this much of a freeze in a while, although we almost did. And this is off North Beach, and that's the ice that's out in the middle. And it's good. Yeah. And so get the fun. So my notes say wintertime on the bay is great. Bring warm gloves with finger holes in them, you know, so you do your shutter. This is another angle of it. I always try to switch angles. I mean, that's the biggest thing. People don't switch angles. Now you throw away a lot of pictures, it's digital, so you what? Although, if you're like me, you keep too many of them. Up until my rotator cuff surgery, I had 170,000 images on my computer. I pared it down by 45,000 during recovery. So, and made tough decisions. Oh, I can work that out. No, you can't. Just sits there for you, taking up space. Okay, again, you know, the light, the birds, you know, they're all sitting there. Okay, now, part of the Chesapeake, you have Baltimore. And you have places you can take night pictures of the Baltimore. This is at the sugar plant, okay? Right next to it is the Armor Hall campus. It's very safe. There's a lot of joggers. It's been, you know, a lot of, you know, yuppies and stuff, whatever it is, they've moved in. So you don't have to worry about, you know, the crime here. So it's early in the morning, you know, before the sun came up. And yes, I use a tripod. This is not handheld, okay? Again, the reflections, always look for reflections. This is a different ship. Now, I put this in competition. Why did he throw it out?
Because you cut off the boat on the left side.
No, because I didn't cut off.
Of the city.
I didn't cut off the city. It would have been a more powerful picture, quote unquote, if you cut off the city. Well, I don't think so. So, you know, that's the way it is.
Glare on the white spots are too hot, too.
What's that?
Too much glare on the upright, the white upright in the front.
Yeah, yeah. That would be, yeah. It's got a star on it. It's got a star on it, though. You're not supposed to see that. But he didn't throw it out for that. Okay, and I do a black and white of it.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, now that light looks a lot better in black and white because you have the nice star shape, you know? All stars.
I actually think the city in there looks nice though.
Yeah, you know, for everybody has put stuff in for competition, you know that judges have their own thing. And Clarence and I, when we were in the buoy, we had one that he didn't like, he was just strange. In other words, he looked at me, sports was theme. I don't do sports very well, so I took sports and I did a little of this in the digital darkroom, and he looked at it and go, "Oh my God, it's October, this is a horrible picture, horror show." I would say, "Thanks." But the next picture was some guy took pictures of his kid playing lacrosse, and he said, "Oh man, all I want to do is buy them a hamburger." They look so really anorexic, so he's not invited back. He didn't like purple. Anything that was purple got thrown out because he wasn't a Ravens fan. So you get that. And of course, I kept this one because that bridge is not there anymore. You know, so this is Severna. Once a year, they let you in to tour. It's pretty good. Although this last tour, Stan Turk was telling me, he was on it, that they might have to move it, which would be a shame because of the money. But It's like going back in the 60s. This is when this first atomic freighter was, and they still have the 60s furniture and stuff like that. And they took out the reactor, so there's a big hole there. But it was a pretty neat walkthrough. It didn't cost anything. So this is the picture I got of it. Talking about supermoons, again, this is from the shore. This is the West River, okay? Basically, when you do a supermoon, you want something in the foreground to, make it look, just a moon is kind of boring. You want something. So this is, like I said, it's West River is down in Galesville. It's got a dock out there. You put the tripod up. And I don't know if anybody used photo pills. Yeah. Okay. There's a app, it costs $10, photo pills. And it tells you everything about moon, sun, stars, Milky Way, meteor showers. It's all right there. And it's really a hard app to use, but there's all kind of YouTube videos. Thank heavens for YouTube videos, because if you don't do it every time, you kind of forget. But I can tell exactly when the moon is going to come where by using photo pills. And it's a big help. Now, my next thing is, like I was saying, I want to get one where, because the photo pills, actually, I've learned how to do this. You can actually have it so you know where you stand, so that the moon will sit on top of the lighthouse over in Sandy Point. I tried that, and the clouds came in. Okay, so what's that?
Do you have any trouble with them letting you out there at night?
Yeah, good point. You have to have a pass, okay? You can stay a half hour extra or a half hour early if you get a photo pass, okay? You go to the main office, you do a bunch of paperwork, some guy signs it, they stamp it, and you're good. And then when they come over, like the last time I was out there trying to get the moon, hey, you got a pass? I go, yeah, I got a pass. You want to see it? Nah, don't worry about it. So a bunch of other people were with us, so they were using our pass. Because we said, oh yeah, we're all part of the same group. So, but anyway, yeah, you do have to have and you can push that half hour more, because I think once the Rangers leave, they leave. I haven't seen anyone left, so, but then it gets too dark. All right, we're getting into.
Has anybody had any luck with taking a fishing rod? Because apparently it's 24/7 if you have a pass to get in for fishermen.
Yep, sure can. And that's the thing of it, is if I couldn't get in there, me and one of my members at the camera club, we were going to get a fishing rod and bring it in. Okay, but they let us in. So, and usually once it passed dark, it's really the only thing to take pictures of is the Bay Bridge at night, which is pretty neat. But but in the morning you can come in early, stuff like that. Now we're going to get into my favorite subject. And my time's all right?
You're fine.
Okay, so remember I told you, if I volunteer someplace, it's because I want to get good pictures. 10 years ago, I saw the Deal Island skipjack races. I was on a chase boat. I wanted to get better pictures. I found out that down my way at the Cabot Museum, they have a skipjack, and they want volunteers. Me. Okay, so they took us out every Thursday and trained us and stuff like that. And then they take the boat over. This is in Deal Island. Deal Island is the other side of the world. Okay, it's not Maryland, it's Merlin over at Deal Island. Okay, so this boat here is Rebecca York. She's the oldest boat, 1886, and she still dredges for oyster. She'll be out there tomorrow morning. Okay, this is the youngest boat. This is the one from Calvert County. It was made in 1979. So right there you have a picture of the oldest boat and the youngest boat side by side. Okay, and now this boat, coming back from this race, we split a chine board, this long chine board going down here, so the Coast Guard wouldn't let it take out any more passengers until it's fixed. That was 2021. It's not fixed yet. So I had to find another skipjack, but it's a shame too. It's just, the museum, it's political. The museum don't want to spend the money, but they'll spend the money on stupid stuff. We won't get into that. So again, I look for angles, different places to do it. So there's a bridge that goes over this, road that goes over. This is a bridge. So I run up on the bridge and I capture these images here. Again, you have the D of St. Mary's, the boat I came in on, and then this one here, the Rebecca York. And of course, when I'm up there, I have to take a plano. So this is my plano of the getting into Deal Island, you can't just come here. You got to go, channel goes like this. So you see Deal Island out there, oh, we're close. No, you're not. It's about an hour. It's all like this. And then the race is held out there. So you can't see it from the shore, but you can you can pay money to get on a chase boat. They have people put you out there. I think it cost me $35. That's how I fell in love with it. So you have museum, I call them museum boats. Those are ones that don't work. And they have motors in them, but they still sail. And then you have the work boats. The work boats can't have a motor, okay? They have to dredge by sail. So they have what they call a pitch boat, which I'll show you in a little bit here. Okay, so what do I always talk about? Threes, you know, 3 in a row. So this, you know, one of my favorite images. You have 3 in a row. Joe just loved 3 in a row. And this is my skipjack that I was crewing. Okay, so we're out racing. There wasn't a whole lot of wind, so you know. So when I take pictures of the skipjack, I'm always looking for the reflection to the sail. Okay, I'm on the main sail. I'm actually working the main sail, and then some of my crewmates were working the jib up there. Fortunately, there wasn't a lot of wind, so we weren't. Well, unfortunately, because you like to have wind, you can take pictures even though you've got the main sail. And I'm going to show you a drone picture. I didn't take this, but there I am, right there. Camera and working the main sail, okay, which I thought was pretty cool. So that's Deal Island. Then Cambridge, they have skipjack races, and you can see them from the shore. They don't have to be on the water, okay? It's the last weekend of September. Deal Island is the first weekend. It's Labor Day. It's the whole weekend for Deal Island. They have parades and Miss Skipjack and Little Skipjack. You know, just it's really a fun time. And we go there and we stay. We get an Airbnb and we stay. And you have a lot of fun. It's great people over there. Even though they say Merlin, it's great people. Okay, so this is last year, and this is the boat I crew on now. This is the Wilma Lee. But since I was on a Deal Island race, the other people get the advantage to go on a race, which the Deal Island race had more wind that way, so I won that. So what I did was the angles. I wanted a leading line, so I wanted to get those crab pots in there. Okay, that's Clayton's crab place. They have these pots. They fill them with crabs, and they actually, steam them there. So I wanted to get that in the picture with the skipjacks going out for the race. Okay, this is Deal Island. I'm on the Wilma Lee. It's year before last. It was 16 to 18 knot winds with a 30-mile-an-hour gust. Okay, it was tough. Does anybody know what reefing the sails are? Reefing the sails is where you roll up part of it so you don't have as much sail. Okay, so this is a work boat. He goes out there and he works. So he's got his main sail reefed and he's got his jib reefed. And we had our jib reefed too. I've never been on our boats. We had to have the jib reefed. So, and that's, we don't want to blow over, So anyway, so he won. And I took this picture and I like it in black and white compared to the color one. Come on. Shit. All right, see the difference? In my opinion, that black and white is so much better.
I like it.
Yeah, I actually had this printed on a metal, and it sold the first day of the show. I belong to the Muddy Creek Art Guild, and we have 2 shows a year, and I always participate in the holiday show. And like I said, I put that up, and the guy, bought it. I thought I probably put too low of a price on it. Okay, so early morning, I go to Eastern Shore early morning, and I'm up. I'm really, love skipjacks. I saw this one here. The light was great, so I actually took a picture of it, had high contrast, and it took the honorable mention last Monday, this picture. Okay, so early morning light. Now, believe it or not, this boat has been repaired, and it's this one here. Okay, so he actually repaired it in 2 years and went from this to that. The guy's name is Stoney. He's done 3 or 4 of these boats. He's a clever guy. All right, so this is a Deal Island skip race. Now, you see the boat's leaning, okay? Skipjacks really shouldn't be leaning, okay, but we go crazy sometimes. So this is when the wind was pretty high. So as you can see, we're leaning and we actually got the water coming up over the side of the boat. Okay, sailors that have sailboats, they love that. That's what they live for. You have a skipjack that only has a 6 foot, anyway, the thing that keeps you from rolling over. Mine, anyway. But it's only 6 feet, where sailboats are like 500. So we're actually bringing water onto the deck. But and this was just this past summer, we actually took second place. And we usually don't because our boat is so heavy because we have motors. Okay, so I'm talking about leaning lines and stuff like that. So this summer, for the first time in 35 years, they had the Chesapeake Bay skipjack race at Sandy Point. Okay, you can see them from the beach. Okay, so I'm on a lot of the skipjacks that came over didn't have crew, so they asked me to crew on this one, which is a Stanley Norman. So I'm right behind the Thomas Clyde. So this boat was built in 1902. This is built in 1919. Okay, now notice the push boat right here. They can't go anywhere with that push boat. You don't have a motor. He pushes people out. I mean, that's how, if you're a waterman and you're doing sail dredging, you got to have that push boat to pull out. Okay, and once you get out, you raise it up on your davits, raise your sail, and then you can go ahead and dredge for oysters. So you can see all these skipjacks going out by the Bay Bridge to participate in a race. And this is what you find when you get out there. Notice he has this boat and his davits. This is the Wilma Lee, okay, and we're at the starting line right there. I'm always looking for different things. So this is a working boat. So this boat is out there tomorrow morning dredging for oysters. Now, the weather's not too bad, but a lot of times in the winter it is. And then when I take my pictures, I want to add things, like I told you. I wanted to get the lighthouse in there. Okay, so I have the lighthouse, I have a wonderful picture of this, and I have the other 2 skipjacks in the back. Tells the story. I have the reflection. Sometimes I will lighten the reflection, not a lot. And this is what it looks like in black and white. And when I'm taking pictures of skipjacks, I like to use framing. So this is the main sail on my boat, and this is the Rebecca York. This is the one that's over 100 years old. So you got the frame, and judges gotta like the frame. So I volunteered on this boat, the D of St. Mary's, and I taught the first mate into taking a little Carolina skiff and running around the boat so I can take a picture. You have to worry about getting water in the lens. So this hopefully should be back sailing this spring. Okay, boat docking contest. Do y'all know what boat docking contests are? Yeah. Okay, so this is Solomon's. They had the boat docking contest. So for people that don't, they're parked here and they fly out and they come over here. Well, they fly out and they come over here. Then they back it in. This is the kid backing in. Now, this is where knee pads come in handy because it's gravel. My knees don't take gravel very bad, so I always carry 1 knee pad with me. So I'm using a knee pad to get this image. It's got to get low. It's amazing watching the kids handle these boats. This one here. So what they do is they go out, they come in, and they got to put the hula hoop onto the piping there. And the fastest person wins. And they get very into it. I do have a picture of him splashing. So yeah, so you notice that, fast shutter speed. All right, so in Annapolis, it's Sailing City, okay? This is Wednesday night racing, okay? We take the skipjack out on Wednesday night racing and have a boat full of people that enjoy sailing, and you get to take this picture. The thing of it is, you can't take them coming out because the sun's in front of you. It's a horrible picture. I've tried it, never works. So you got to take it while they're going out. And this is their mark. All right, that's their start. This is a different class I left it in there because, you know, you got the tankers in the background, and they go out pretty far. Now, when you're taking pictures like that, again, you want to be where the action is. So where these two boats are, they're at the mark where they're going to turn and put their spinnaker up, okay? So fortunately, the boat I was on was staying there, so I just sat there and took pictures of these guys coming around. I actually did this one in the digital darkroom as an oil painting. It came out pretty good. Really surprising. And then you get to see things like this. All right, why is this thrown out? This judge threw this out the first round. He didn't like this here. I like it. I think it gives you, you know, you're on a boat, you know. But he threw it out because I don't like that stuff on the left-hand side. All right.
Is that the eagle?
What's that?
Is that the eagle?
No, that's a Libertine. And she was in. So anyway, I leave these in because I want to show the story that I'm on a boat, okay? And, you know, it's just, you know, the sun's right, you know, you got the kayak going in and out. It's a lot of fun. Now, I'm always looking for different angles. Okay, so you always see this picture, but you see one like this. Okay, that's under the Bay Bridge, okay? I used the mast as a, you know, to hold it up and run it the Bay Bridge. And you know, it tells you exactly what's going on. So that's why I like this, you see all the time. This you don't. Now, will a judge understand it? Probably not. We'll find out one day. So it's always looking for different things. So you have the boom going on, the mast, and you have a truck up on the bridge. Okay, Thomas Point Lighthouse. Everybody has a picture of Thomas Point Lighthouse, but you have the Bay Bridge, a tanker, a tanker, a tanker, a tanker. All right, gives you your picture, some kind of, you know, contents there. Everybody's got a picture of the lighthouse. Okay, so who says you can't take pictures of fireworks on a boat? Okay, so we take people out for 4th of July. Fortunately, it was kind of calm. Basically, I put my elbows on the cabin and shot these pictures at 1/3 of a second, and it worked out pretty good. I got a good set of them. So you can always do that. So next up, and we're getting to the end, I swear. Annapolis, you got to be with the Blue Angels. If you want to get good pictures like this, you get on one of the boats. My boat takes people out. The Watermark take people out. A lot of other boats take people out. And they ring off a place just for Watermark and for us. So we're all out there by ourselves where all the other boats are out there. You can actually walk on every boat and not get wet. So we're out there by ourselves, and it's really close. You can see it's a 300 millimeter, but that's only 155 millimeter. This got thrown out because the judge says he didn't like the model. He said it was a model picture. I don't take pictures of models. I said, well, that's not a model. And that's when you want to go, ooh. Now, I want to talk about something real quick. When you look at these, this writing, Topaz has AI, okay? It's supposed to take it and then sharpen things up. I found sometimes AI, when I use these, it screws up the lettering. The lettering is all screwed up, you know, so you have to be careful with the AI on that. But anyway, so that's, you know, so that was with the Nikon. Then I had the Sony the next year. Now, they do it 2 times that week. They have the practice session, which is the same show. Then they have the show, okay? So you can do it 2 times. Okay, so I was using the Sony. The Sony has an aircraft thing that it hangs in on the aircraft that you do it. Okay, so it is. And this one to the left was in the, like I said, I always like different angles, different things in there. And that's was in the visitor's guide for Annapolis. Then you got the great schooner race, Chesapeake Bay schooner race, comes in on the end of October. This is this year, this is Virginia. Had good weather, it was kind of tough. The year before, it was more, less wind, but I got the pride of Baltimore with the Bay Bridge in the background.
Excuse me, have you tried that one in black and white?
No, I haven't. Maybe I'll do that. That'd probably look nice. And then there's, again, just, you know. Okay, in Baltimore, like next to the Severna, you have another ship called the John Brown. I led what do you call it, a field trip up there. This is when I had the Nikon Z50, which I got rid of right away. I didn't like it, but look at the automatic ISO, 4500, 5100. And it didn't look too bad. I mean, I had to use the denoise on it, but it didn't look too bad considering that. You know, and the funny thing of it is the regular docent wasn't there. Some guy with the crew, they brought us and put it all the way down in the engine room and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. But it just amazes me that I can't talk about the Chesapeake Bay without the collar window down. Okay. You see a lot of eagles at this time. I should be heading out at the end of June. From November to January, you have hundreds of eagles there. Okay, they're just there to eat the fish. But if it's flooding, they're not there. So I went there thinking I was going to take some pictures, and this is what I got. There wasn't an eagle in sight because there was too much water. All it's just, they got all the gates open, they couldn't catch the fish. So there's no eagles. So they do have a Facebook page that you can check it out, you know, because usually, you know, the people are fishing there. But it's an interesting place, and you'll see why in a second. Look at all the photographers. Okay, and I'm in the middle. There's more going down that way. Okay, so they're all down there, and every time an eagle takes off, you hear the click, 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 click. You know, and this is one of the images I got there. You know, I only had 150. And of course, you have the Milky Way. This is in Blackwater. Okay, this is a single image. It's not two. I mean, I got to try 2 images. I think it would have been better. In the same place last year with my new Sony and my new lenses, I had it set up on a tripod and it fell in the water. And I'm looking in the water and I'm seeing the light up. I go, oh man. So I threw it in the trunk, came home, and the Sony was fine. I had to clean the sensor, I was fine. The lens is still not working for a while, but the camera itself did pretty good, pretty well, same thing. Okay, this is the software that I use. Okay, I mainly use Lightroom CC. That's my go-to software. Okay, Topaz AI, yeah, a little bit. I mean, sometimes the old Topaz Sharpen AI is sometimes better. Okay, denoise is good. Although I'm finding that the denoise in Lightroom is almost better. So I've been using that. Okay, then you have Studio 2 if you want to get weird effects. Topaz gigapixels, if you have a real small picture, it'll blow it up like that for you, so you don't lose the Nik software. I love Nik software. I love Nik Silver Effects Pro for black and white. That's all I use for black and white. The color effects I use sometimes. The Vovesa I use sometimes. And Photoshop I don't use unless I have to use it. Okay, it's just too much going on in Photoshop. You just have to remember all that stuff. I don't have enough, you know, patience and whatever. List of cameras that I've used in the past. Okay, so all crop sensors, but I finally got a full frame. Okay, and that was hard getting used to the full frame because crop sensor, it takes you closer, full frame gives you more pixels, but you're farther away. The Z50, I was out. And that's why I went to the Sony AC Mark II, because it gave me everything that I wanted and then some at a real cheap price and a small camera. Great camera, great camera. And then I got the A7 III. These are my lenses. The first lens, the 18-50, 25 to 300. This Sigma 150 to 600, wonderful lens. I mean, that's a beautiful lens. I bought it at Service Photos, a $1,200 lens. I got it for $600, and I can't beat that. And then Telegram Rivers. And with that, it's a sunset. Yes.
What about the log canoe races?
I haven't done those yet.
You haven't?
That's on the bucket list.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. The first mate that was on Steve St. Mary, who is now captain of the Sultana, she does a lot of log races. So I'm going to get up with her and do that. Yes, sir.
Just talk of. Have you ever tried a pedaling kayak?
No. I haven't because it's expensive. I like my kayak. It's 10 years old. I'm used to it. So I haven't fished off the kayak either. So, yeah. And now with this rotator cuff, maybe I have to get a pedal if they don't get it back. They're working to get it back in by April. I told them I got to be back on a boat by April. So you got to get me squared away by then so I can do the sales and stuff like that. And the skipjack I'm on now, we take kids out in the springtime and teach them about the bay. And we dredge for oysters for them. And we let them raise the sail. It's pretty cool stuff. Anything else?
Yeah, there's snowboat races up in Havertide Race in the summertime too, in August.
They have them there, and in Galesville, they have them every Wednesday night. That's where I got caught. I'm coming out of this creek and there's all these boats going by. I thought, damn, it's rush hour to get on the bay. No, but they're getting ready for the race. And that's why I got stuck in the middle of them. You know, I had to watch out.
Do the skipjacks have keels?
Yeah, that's what the word I was looking for. They have a 6-foot keel. Okay, so it's not now on the way back from Deal Island this year, our keel centerboard, we call it, fell out at that Calvert power plant. We still had a long way to go, but fortunately, it was still hanging by a line. And we had a captain that was young, and he drove over, and we tied a rope to it, and we all pulled it up by the. We have a halyard that rescues people, and then we took the halyard that we raised the sail, and it's a 1,000-pound piece of oak, white oak, and put it on the deck and headed over to Tillman Island to have it repaired. So yeah, they do have a keel. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Glenn, thank you very much.
We appreciate it. I'm glad you're coming out. It's my passion.
Debbie from online said to thank you for your sharing your beautiful photos.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to join us next week for our digital contest, open theme, and we will see you next week. Good night.
It was only 8:30. I was doing pretty good. I thought I was running a little overtime.
For us.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
When you